Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I've had a lot of questions about my weight loss journey, so thank you for all of your kind words and your feedback. I was really proud of myself as well, and so I've had a lot of people ask me some more details about my Weight Watchers journey and using Weight Watchers, as well as the keto diet and intermittent fasting and sort of what I preferred, what I liked, what I didn't like about both of them. So this video is going to be specifically dedicated towards speaking a little bit more about my journey on Weight Watchers, as well as a separate journey that I had doing keto diet as well as intermittent fasting. So let's start with Weight Watchers. So if you watch some of my other videos, you'll understand that when I initially started my weight loss journey when I turned about 30 years old, the first program I sought after was Weight Watchers. I loved Weight Watchers, and I actually, for a while there, for about a year, I was a Weight Watchers coach. I used to go into the corporate environment, and I used to do Weight Watchers classes in large companies. So I would go to like the local Honda head office. I did it at Mackenzie Health. So these would be for employees that are attending a weight loss program together in the workplace, and it was absolutely amazing. It kept me very accountable in my journey. Unfortunately, Weight Watchers ended up canceling the At Work series, so I no longer am doing that, and I don't think that that program even exists anymore. But while it lasted, it was really, really awesome. And actually, that's how I came to get involved in Weight Watchers, is actually through my work that I do at Life with a Baby, which is essentially a play group for moms and babies. I decided that there must be other moms like myself who were interested in weight loss, and I thought that if I hosted the Weight Watchers meetings at my home, and if I got together a bunch of Life with a Baby members who were interested, it was honestly a great way for me to be accountable in my own journey, and it worked out really easy for me because I hosted it at my house, and the Weight Watchers coach would come to my house, and there was like, I think 10 of us or so that were doing the class and would meet every Wednesday night at my old place. And I successfully lost all my weight and reached my goal. I am a Weight Watchers lifetime member because I reached my goal. I'll post a picture of my keychain and my journey on that. And I have nothing but great things to say about the program. If you have never done any type of weight loss program before, and if you're just looking to sort of start a weight loss journey, what I love about Weight Watchers is it actually teaches you to be mindful of what you're eating, and also the calorie content of what you're eating and the other nutritional elements of what you're eating, because it's all about tracking with Weight Watchers. And I will say that if you're not the type of person that's, you know, connected to technology, connected to your phone, it may not be the right program for you, because Weight Watchers, you cannot do Weight Watchers unless you plan to track everything you eat. That program is basically to teach you accountability and limits towards what you eat, the types of choices you make and what you eat, how much you eat. And the way that you do that is by recording everything that you eat, and everything you eat has a points value according to the Weight Watchers system. And there's this whole science behind how they come up with the points value for all the different foods that you eat. And on Weight Watchers, you can literally eat whatever you want. There's you don't have to buy any special Weight Watchers foods, although they do have Weight Watchers branded foods, but you don't have to buy those or eat those. You can literally eat whatever you want on Weight Watchers. So if you want to eat a Big Mac at McDonald's on Weight Watchers, by all means, you go eat it. But you're going to see when you go down to record how many points that Big Mac is worth. And that might actually be your points for like half a day or even a full day. And so when you initially sign up with Weight Watchers, you actually put in all your different specification of information, your height, your weight, whether you're male, female, whether you're breastfeeding or not, because you can even do Weight Watchers as a breastfeeding mom. And I did do Weight Watchers while I was breastfeeding, which was totally fine to do as well. But basically, with all your specifications in there, it'll tell you how many points per day you're allowed to have, and then you literally keep track of all the foods you ate in the day using their special app, and you have to stay within your points for the day to start seeing weight loss. And essentially the science with Weight Watchers and the science of weight loss in general is a calorie deficit leads to weight loss. So when you're following the Weight Watchers program, you're essentially creating that calorie deficit, and you're learning also at the same time about making healthy food choices. And you start to see that, you know, I can have this big, beautiful salad with chicken on it and, you know, so many ounces of cheese and so many ounces of nuts and whatnot. And this is, you know, going to be X number of Weight Watchers points, or I can only have this like one little piece of chocolate, for example. And then you're going to learn to make a decision as to what you eat based on the points value, and you just sort of naturally and subconsciously start making healthier food choices because you realize that you're going to be hungry if you don't make the better calorie choice. And actually, since the time that I've done Weight Watchers, which is now called WW because they went through a rebranding also a few years ago, they also introduced a bunch of 0-point foods. So on Weight Watchers, if I'm understanding correctly how it still works today, is that you can actually have as much of their 0-point foods as you want. And a lot of those 0-point foods are things like chicken, black beans was on the list before. There was a bunch of fruits and veggies that were on that list. So really on the Weight Watchers program, what I loved about it is that you were never hungry, because even if you blew by accident, or maybe not by accident, if you blew all your points for the day making, you know, a not so great food decision, and it's not like you were going to starve the rest of the day because you were out of your points. No, you had all these 0-point or low-point food options that they guide you towards that you could fill up the rest of your day on. So if you had that Big Mac, for example, well, you might be eating veggies, you know, the rest of your day to sort of make up for that, which is totally fine. So in starting my weight loss journey and in initially reaching my weight loss goal, I loved Weight Watchers as sort of a newbie because it literally taught me to make those more conscious food decisions. And in looking up all the different foods I was eating throughout the day, as well as, you know, even going out to restaurants, because they have in the app all different restaurants in there and the different menu items within a restaurant. And worst case scenario, if the item or the restaurant wasn't listed in their app, there was ways to search for the points value in the community or to manually calculate the Weight Watcher points value by entering in the nutritional information on the item. It had a handy scanning tool, so you could literally scan the barcode of the food item to look it up. So once again, by using the app, you were really learning to make more conscious food decisions, and it initially set me up for success in terms of changing my mindset around how I viewed food, how much food I was eating, and the type of food choices I made, which inevitably led me towards reaching my goal weight, which at the time was 150 pounds. If you recall from my first blog, like I think I was at one point 200 pounds. So that was a 50-pound weight loss for myself. And actually not only did I reach my 150-pound goal, but I actually dipped as low as 145 at one point. So I exceeded my goal. And as a result, I still today am a lifetime lifetime Weight Watchers member, and I have my little key ring, which I'll show you, and I have that status. Now, right now, for example, I am back up over the 150 mark. I'm more like 160 right now. So even though I'm still a lifetime Weight Watchers member, if I want to go back to using the app, I will have to pay my monthly Weight Watcher fee in order to use that app until I reach back down to my goal weight of 150. And then as soon as I get back to my goal weight of 150, I no longer have to pay anymore. So that's sort of how Weight Watchers keeps you accountable in your Weight Watchers journey. And the incentive of being a Weight Watchers lifetime member is that you've reached your goal and now you can use the app free of charge. But because I'm over my goal weight now, I would have to pay whatever the posted monthly rates are until I get back down to my goal weight. So that's Weight Watchers. And like I said, I loved the Weight Watchers program and I speak very highly about it. And I encourage anyone who sort of feels like that might be the best route for them to definitely try it out. But now I want to talk a little bit about keto diet and intermittent fasting. So I think I may have shared that at some point after my weight loss journey, and during my weight loss journey, I went through a divorce and I did the whole single mom thing for a while. And then I ventured into online dating, which I was actually thinking I should make a YouTube video about my online dating experts. Maybe that one will come soon. But then I ventured into keto diet and intermittent fasting. So unfortunately, I gained a bunch of weight back after I met my husband. they say when you fall in love, you gain, you know, weight back. It's absolutely true. It was a great summer of dating, meeting people. I met the love of my life, you know, through online dating. We had a really fun summer together. We got married. We had a fantastic honeymoon in Greece and Italy, where I literally ate so much food, and both of us truthfully put a lot of weight on that year, just sort of falling in love and going through that journey. And I don't regret it, because it was totally worth it. But my husband and I decided after that we were both going to get back on track, and he wasn't really keen on trying Weight Watchers. He didn't think he could commit to tracking all of his foods. He preferred, a friend of his had started sort of like a fitness, diet, nutrition company, and they were really promoting keto diet with intermittent fasting, and he wanted to try that out. So he signed up through his friend to start, you know, a meal plan journey with intermittent fasting and keto diet. And myself, I didn't sign up for his friend's plan per se, but I did sort of follow along with what he was doing, as well as I researched keto diet and intermittent fasting myself, and I sort of did my own thing. And with the knowledge I brought from Weight Watchers, I decided to try something new, which was keto diet and intermittent fasting. So let's talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about keto diet first, because that's sort of fatty right now, and a lot of people are on the keto bandwagon. And what I will say about keto diet is I also really loved it. So for someone who's never dieted before, keto diet can seem really, really daunting. And I should also preface this with saying that a lot of people have controversial information and opinions on keto diet. There's a lot of misinformation about there too, that they think keto diet means eating a lot of meat and a lot of fatty meat and a lot of bacon, and it's looked at as being very unhealthy, but that's actually not keto diet. There is something called dirty keto, which does involve a lot of that sort of high sodium, really processed fatty meats, but that's not what my husband and I did. I'd like to say that my husband and I followed more of a clean keto diet. Myself, I did more of a lazy keto diet, which I'll talk about. And actually we followed, if anything, more of a high protein keto diet. And so if you're starting down your keto journey and you're researching keto diet, you're going to see that there's actually many different ways to do keto diet, and you can research them all and do what you think will work best for you. But we did more of a high protein, lazy keto, and more of a clean keto diet versus the dirty keto diet. So with keto diet, and I'm gonna post and comment on an awesome list to sort of get you started with that, you basically avoid all carbs and you avoid all sugar, which sounds really scary to someone who's never dieted before, to completely not have any more carbs and to completely not have any more sugar. You know, that's a huge commitment to make. That also includes things like no fruit, or like very, very little fruit. And I'll talk about what's allowed in that realm. But yeah, you're basically dropping those things completely from your diet, which puts you into a state of ketosis. So if you're having 20 net carbs or less per day of carbs, then your body will go into ketosis. And there's a science behind how to get into ketosis, but a lot of it is just depleting yourself of those carbs and depleting yourselves of those sugars. The benefit to doing that, though, is you also get over your addiction to carbs and to sugar. And I know myself and my husband, we were absolutely addicted to carbs and sugar. And if you carry a lot of weight in your belly area, and if you find that you're eating all day long, snacking all day long, if you're not eating constantly, that you feel kind of weak and that you need to eat more, and you sort of are hungry all day long and snacking, and if you are carrying your weight in your belly area, those are usually clear signs that you are addicted to gluten, carbs, and the sugar. And so when you start keto diet, the great thing about it is that you actually train your body to not need those things anymore, and you don't crave them as a result. So the first couple of weeks, I will say, of starting keto diet is very difficult. You may have heard of something called keto flu, which you typically get maybe a bit of a mild grade fever. You can even get like flu-like symptoms, and that's sort of your body's way of responding to the dramatic change in your diet. and getting over that gluten, sugar addiction, that carb addiction. So sometimes the first couple of weeks is not fun. My husband went through that. He got keto flu, and I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, you're just sort of down and out for a few days, but you sort of know that your body's going through that process of ketosis, and you know that in the long run that's going to help you, so you sort of manage it and get through that. Myself, I experienced the opposite of keto flu, which is something I didn't realize existed until I researched it myself, but I actually went through keto euphoria, which is basically that you feel absolutely awesome, and it's your body's way of thanking you for doing keto diet, because clearly your body wasn't enjoying all that extra carbs and all that extra sugar. So within a few days of eliminating those things completely from my diet, I actually started to feel excellent. I felt so much mental clarity. Like, if there's one thing that keto diet does for you, is it gives you like so much more mental clarity. I've heard of people who really struggle with mental health in general really benefiting from keto diet, because I do feel that stress and tension and sort of that sugar or carb fog sort of goes away, and I absolutely experienced that myself. So for that reason, I absolutely love it. And when I'm off track of keto diet, like I am right now, sort of post Christmas, and I've committed to getting back on track now after New Year. So basically these next couple of days I've been binge eating everything I want, because I know it's time to get back on track, which is totally not good, but it's okay to give yourself breaks too. But yeah, like, my body thanks me when I get back on track. And so, yeah, if you're looking to just sort of getting started with keto diet, I'll post a list of sort of what you can have and what you need to avoid. With keto diet, it is also important to keep track of your macros. I would use Carb Manager app to do that. I love the Carb Manager app because it essentially gives you like a nice little colorful chart of what you've eaten in the day, and it keeps track of your protein and your carbs, and it keeps track of net carbs. So net carbs is carbohydrates less the sugar, alcohols, and the fiber. So instead of like the total carb count, you're supposed to be only counting your net carbs. So for myself as a female, and I think most in general, it's like 20 net carbs or less per day to successfully manage keto diet and to get into that state of ketosis. And you can essentially eat whatever you want on keto diet. You're gonna focus though on healthy cuts of meat and vegetables. So what I love about keto is I find it fairly easy, because no matter where you go, you can find meat and you can find veggies, even if you go out to eat at dinner. Whereas with Weight Watchers, I had to find a restaurant that was in the app, or focus on a restaurant that I could find easily or calculate easily. With Weight Watchers, the points value. With keto diet, I can literally go pretty well to any restaurant and get, a burger less the bun, or a burger in a lettuce wrap, or I can get, we go to the Keg, we could get easily a Caesar salad, no croutons. The Caesar dressing is totally fine on keto diet. The lettuce is totally fine. The steak is totally fine. The fact that they cook the steak in butter is no problem at all. Whereas, coming from the Weight Watchers background, eating a steak at home, totally fine. You're grilling it, you're not adding anything to it. Whereas with keto diet, going to the Keg, for example, is not a problem, because we know that they put butter on their steak. So whereas with Weight Watchers, that would be a very high point value steak. With keto diet, you can have that steak no problem, and the veggies no problem. Just you have to hold the potatoes, you have to hold the fries, you have to hold the croutons, any of those like little breaded onions. Like you physically need to eliminate all those added carbs from your diet. If you are on keto diet, getting a little bit of a carb craving, and you will from time to time crave a little bit of carbs, and you can offer yourself a cheat meal every once in a while once you start getting closer to your goals. They don't recommend giving yourself cheat meals at the beginning. You have to stay pretty strict to the diet at first. But after a while, once you start seeing significant weight loss and you feel comfortable having a cheat day, because don't forget, a cheat day will also kick you out of ketosis likely, which it can take you a few days afterwards to get back on track and back into ketosis if you want to see that rapid weight loss. You have to decide whether or not that cheat meal is worth breaking your ketosis. And myself, like, I would get back into ketosis fairly quickly, but I know my husband, it took him a little bit longer to get back into ketosis. So if you've heard of keto diet, you've probably also heard about intermittent fasting, IF for short. Usually the two of them go hand in hand, and generally speaking, people who do keto diet also fast. There's also lots of people around the world, both dietary wise as well as culturally, who practice in fasting. So fasting is basically having planned periods of time that you physically do not eat. You can drink water, and some people are okay with also just having like clear broth during that time, or like clear liquid coffee or tea, but no solid foods during a predetermined period of time. A lot of people who start with fasting will start with 16-8 fasting, which means that for a 16-hour period of time, you do not eat, and then for an 8-hour period of time would be your eating window. Now, it sounds like crazy that you wouldn't eat for 16 hours. However, for a lot of people, they start that fasting period after their last meal of the day. So let's say you cut yourself off at 6 p.m. And then you wouldn't eat the next day until the afternoon, 16 hours later. So once again, most of that time is sleeping. So that cuts that time in half. And then strategically in the morning, you would be drinking water. Some people will have clear coffee or tea, and then they would plan their first meal of the day 16 hours later, usually by the afternoon. And then they would have an 8-hour window of time where they would physically eat food. And so for people who are doing keto diet, they would make sure that during that 8-hour window that they're only eating keto-friendly foods. So once again, focusing on the meats and the vegetables. And then there's some people who don't do keto diet and who just practice intermittent fasting, and who during the intermittent fasting period, they pretty well eat whatever they want. I've never done that myself. Typically, I've done the two hand in hand. And from what I've seen in the mom community and online, is most people have the best results in weight loss when they combine keto diet plus intermittent fasting. Once again, when you start practicing with intermittent fasting, similar to keto diet, you just sort of get used to it. So the first, week or two, it's kind of hard, and you can slowly build up and stretch up to that 16-hour fast period. You can start with less time and then work your way up from there. 16-8 is generally like a beginner's level, long-term sustainable fasting cycles. Some people then test that further and they only give themselves a 4-hour eating window period. Some people do OMAD, 1 meal a day, and so they literally end up fasting to the point where they only have 1 meal a day. Some people fast over 24 hours or even longer fasts. But if you're just sort of getting started in the world of intermittent fasting, generally speaking, 16-8 is your most common, and your body will eventually get used to having those longer periods of time without eating and be totally fine to live off of water during that time, and it really starts helping your body break down that extra fat. So if you are considering, doing keto diet and perhaps you've stalled and you're looking to up the ante a bit, or if you're looking to do something a little bit more rapid leading up to your surgery date, doing keto diet plus intermittent fasting might be something that you may want to consider. So I hope you enjoyed today's vlog about how I accomplished my personal weight loss journey. This is sort of what I've been doing in preparation of my mommy makeover, as well as just sort of in my whole goal over the last 4 years since I turned 30 years old, to try to get myself into better shape and a better, healthier, active lifestyle. I'm just speaking about my personal experience. Do what works for you. Generally speaking, the rule of thumb when it comes to weight loss in general is that calorie deficit leads to weight loss. So however you decide to create that calorie deficit and whatever program you decide to follow, I think science has shown that as long as you commit to it and you stick to it and you practice it over a prolonged period of time, you should have very successful results. And once again, most surgeons you'll speak to want you to be within 10 pounds of your goal weight in order to actually have your mommy makeover. So I know, you know, a lot of ladies who are about to enter this journey are looking to get into their prime goal weight as soon as possible so that they can be well prepped for surgery, or perhaps you haven't booked your surgery date yet and you're looking for some motivation and you want to set yourself a goal and a weight so that then you can book your surgery. So this is how I did it: Weight Watchers, keto diet, intermittent fasting. I loved all three of them for different reasons, and I hope you'll find something that works well for you.